Hey everybody, we are Alex and Tiffany
Tiffany
Gibson from
.com.
itsthegibsonlife.com. And today we're going to be talking about purity in marriage. And we've got a little different setup today because we're working in mine and my mom's classroom where we do some educational things. So don't mind the educational posters in the background.
Yeah, especially this one.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, we're in here because it's cleaner than it is in our room, and obviously we've got a little boy who's 6 months old right now, but that also means that we haven't had the most time to clean off our dresser, so we'd rather not show you our dresser at this time. It's slightly embarrassing, but just know it'll get clean one day. I think spending time with me spending time with you spending time with me, and us spending time with our son is more important right now than making sure
cleaning off a dresser.
Yeah, I mean it's not terrible, but it's not like video worthy. So yeah. Anyway, real life, it's the Gibson life problems. So anywho. We're going to be talking about purity in marriage, and this information is coming from a devotion that Alex and I did, and I think it was you who sent me the devotion invite.
I did.
What was the full name of the devotion? Was it
Challenges of a Millennial Marriage?
And I'm not sure who it's by, but it was a great devotion. So, Challenges of a Millennial Marriage. And it's a video as well as like actual text devotional. It was a great devotional, and you can do it with your spouse, so we recommend it. We recommend doing devotions with your spouse because doing it through the app, the YouVersion app, you can keep up with your progress, and your spouse can see the progress that you're doing as well. But you can also add like comments and things like that. Kind of like you're communicating through the app. So that's a devotion we're getting this information from. So purity in marriage. Really, the biggest time that most people think you should be pure is before marriage.
Definitely.
But,
while courting, most people want to stay as pure as possible. The reason behind that is because most people, I'm not going to say most people, but most people that court, how about that?
Yeah.
Most people that court want to save themselves from marriage.
Right.
So putting themselves in a Netflix and chill environment would not help for them.
That's hazardous.
Yes, very hazardous.
Caution.
Yeah, so, but when most people think about purity, they think about before marriage.
Right.
But we're going to talk about purity in marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. And a lot of times when you're, or even, not even only when you're courting, but when you're single, you're thinking, okay, don't have sex.
Sure.
Don't watch porn. Don't do this, don't do that. And then
don't go to a gentleman's club.
Yeah, or a ladies club. Is that what they're called? I don't know. But also for me, it was also don't watch movies where there's a sex scene or shows with a sex scene in it. So I was trying to make sure that I stayed pure by doing that as well. But so once you get married, I feel like sometimes people, and even in the devotion he was talking about, like sometimes we get married and then we are like, okay, we can do everything now, right?
Exactly.
And that's not necessarily the case. In fact, when you get married, you should turn the purity level up, because at that point, now you're accountable for this relationship and this covenant that you've set before God. And now you need to commit to only having eyes for your spouse.
Yeah.
And you need to commit to only acting upon attraction for your spouse. And still not watching porn, because when you watch porn, porn definitely gives you an expectation for something that's going to happen in the bedroom. But if your spouse is not a porn star, it probably is not going to happen that way.
Nope.
And you might be a little disappointed. And then they'll be a little disappointed because you're disappointed based off of what you've seen.
Because you had expectations that you did not tell them.
Watch them expectations.
They will arrive.
For the
in your life. Okay? But you got to be smart about it.
Okay, anyway. So yeah, so not watching porn even once you get married. What are some other things?
Also, I would say not. Sometimes you have to watch who you're hanging around.
Ooh, yeah.
Because, you know, you as a married man or a married woman hanging around a single friend is not going to do it for you.
Okay.
They're going to...
Wait, hold on, though. Because I have a single friend. I actually have a very close friend who's a single friend. So what type of single
friend? A not like-minded single friend.
Oh, okay. Those types of single friends.
The type of single friend that's going to say, hey, bro, let's go to the strip club. Let's go blow a couple bands real quick.
Or the single lady friend who's like, girl, let's go ahead and go to the club. What you on tonight? Let's go to the club. Or, you know, let's hang out with some dudes. Or I know this dude and he's got a friend and let's go. He's going to be at this party or this lounge. Or down at Atlantic Station, we're going to meet him up at the restaurant. And then we're going to go do something else together.
Listen, you have to literally distance yourself from those type of people. And I'm not saying you can't be friends with them. I'm not saying that you can't hang out with them. But you have to choose your environment. If you know that they're going to say, let's go to the strip club, it's your choice. It's on you. It's not on them. Mm-hmm. They already know what they want. It's what you want.
So basically what you're saying is if they're not pure and they're not searching and striving to be pure, then you probably shouldn't be hanging out with them because you're striving to be pure, so their impure motives are going to taint your pure motives.
Correct.
So those are some reasons why, you know, before you get married, but once you're in, those are reasons why when you're in marriage, but once you get married, there's other things like working with people of the opposite sex.
Correct.
You know, I work with people who are, and you definitely work with people who are of the opposite sex.
My work field, there's probably like it's
predominantly female.
2 to 8 ratio.
8 to 2.
8 to 2 female to male ratio.
Yeah. So you're in a predominantly female field. I'm in a field with, I would say it's probably more predominantly male, but with where I work, it's pretty even. Yeah. But I do spend some time, and I've worked closely with the opposite sex, and the same for Alex. But where you become and it's also about accountability. With purity, accountability comes with it. Because when you're, you know, in an office where you're having a meeting or something like that with the door closed, open the blinds or don't close the door. Or, you know, when it's kind of like, hey, let's go out to dinner and discuss this merger, or let's go out to dinner to discuss these topics based off for work. Dinner is probably not the environment that you want to be in. That's not the atmosphere, especially if there's no one else around. Lunch would probably be safer, making sure that you're in a public place if you have to do something like that. And if you don't have to do something like that, then chances are it's better and safer for you, for your marriage, to not do that. Right. Even if you have no interest in this person, because it can be misconstrued that you do have interest in this person, or that they have interest in you. So just making sure that you're pure in your relationship, being pure and not watching, even once you get married, not watching porn together. Right. Because even though you're watching it with the other person, you might still develop the same kind of expectations. So watching porn together still isn't a good idea. Yeah. It's also, seek the word about, you know, watching pornography and things like that. There are scriptures on pornography and things like that. So you want to make sure that you study the word and what the word says about the things that you're looking to do. And so when you become a married couple, exploring each other's bodies in the bedroom is definitely necessary. You know, you should get out my face. You should explore each other's bodies in the bedroom, in the marriage bed. You should definitely do that. However, the methods in which you do it, you want to make sure are still pure. Again, you know, we've talked about, you know, not looking to porn, but also not looking to other couples, in terms of like participating with other couples. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, people do that. It happens. It does happen. So
it does say do not
defile the marriage bed.
The marriage bed. So
yeah,
I would definitely not recommend that last one.
You want to stay pure. And so some of the other things that were mentioned in the devotion was just making sure that you're pure in terms of keeping your eyes on your spouse, your attraction for your spouse. You don't become blind when you get married, but you want to make sure that you're not acting on any attraction for other people.
Yeah,
you will, see somebody that looks good. Man, you look good. Okay, that's enough.
Exactly.
That's enough. And if you struggle with that, be honest with your spouse, and your spouse should allow you to be honest with them. So if I'm feeling some type of way, there has been a time where I told Alex, hey, I was praying and then I saw this person and then I had this thought. It wasn't my thought. It wasn't a thought that the enemy, put in my mind. It definitely wasn't my thought, because we were married at this point, and it's not something I would have just wanted to be thinking about. But I did.
Engaged.
No, we were
engaged.
because we were living in that studio apartment. Maybe the thought came when we were engaged, but we did talk about it, and I remember talking about it in that studio apartment. So, no, you were kind of right at the same time though. So we talked about it, and I was very honest with Alex, and at that point we decided that I should go to counseling. And so I went to counseling and talked to a minister, and it really just was the fact that I wasn't controlling my thoughts. I was just letting thoughts come off the riff, and I wasn't controlling them and pulling them down and making them submit to Jesus Christ. I was just kind of letting them happen. Yep. So just like that scripture in 1 Thessalonians talks about pulling down these negative thoughts and making them submit. So yeah, those are some things that you want to be cautious with, and to help you be pure. But
another one would be not traveling or flying
for business
or anything with the opposite sex.
Sorry, I was just trying to get something.
Don't travel with the opposite sex.
Now. Don't try to stop. Now you're trying to film a video. Calm down.
Don't travel with the opposite sex, because literally that gives an opportunity for alone time with the other person. That's not a good thing if you're married. You should never want to be alone with the opposite sex. If you if you already have a wife, if you already have a husband, that's just staying pure, period. You have to know your limits. Like,
oh yeah, that's
you
sure.
You definitely have to know your limits and what you can withstand. Y'all could be out for business and somebody asks, or the guy asks you, let's go, down to the bar and get a drink.
Yeah.
That's not smart. That's not smart.
Yeah, you definitely want to talk about your limits with your spouse. You want to talk about stop. You want to talk about your limits. You want to just be in communication. That's what people are talking about when they say, okay, here's a tip for marriage. Communicate. That's communication. Yeah. So another thing about communication is discussing your sexual desires.
Yes.
What turns you on? What doesn't turn you on? That's okay to talk about. You're married. You's married now, so you can talk about the things that turn you on, the things that Alex. You can talk. Okay, babe. Oh my gosh! Like, we're trying to film a video. Okay. Anyway, so you can talk about the things that you desire, things that you like, and things that you don't like. Like I said, you should definitely explore each other. There are books and things that you can read that have like drawings and pictures and things to help you if you're a visual learner. There are things that you can do within pure boundaries that you can help your marriage. So if you're struggling with sex,
oh my God, she transformed, guys.
If you're struggling with sexual desire, I'm not gonna lie, that's something that I actually struggle with. And so I'm actually in the process of I'm gonna make sure that my hormones are balanced the way that they need to be, so that I can make sure that I have a strong, we're young, so I want to have a strong sexual desire. But that's something that you guys might need to talk about. You might need to pray about. We have prayed about our sex life. We prayed about sexual desire. God created sex, so there's no reason to hide sex from him. There's no reason to hide your questions from him or your prayers from him. Bring them to God. Bring them to the throne, because he can handle it. Obviously, he created sex for a reason. For many reasons, actually.
He said, be fruitful and multiply.
Check. We've done that one. Just talking about your sexual desire. Okay, so, basically we've talked about all of those, but you just want to make sure that you're staying pure in your marriage, because you want to avoid affairs. You want to stay true to your spouse. You want to make sure that you and your spouse are always on the same page. So communicate. If you're feeling some type of way, take it to God. Communicate with your spouse. Talk to God first about how to communicate with your spouse, when to communicate those things to your spouse. But nonetheless, your spouse should also be open to hearing those things. And then if you feel like you need a neutral person or party to hear, go to counseling about it.
One thing that I thought about is that affairs first start in your mind. Mm-hmm. You have to think about something before you actually do it. Your body's not going to do something that your mind doesn't already think of.
Yeah.
So, controlling your thoughts from the beginning is the way to go. And, if you're thinking pure thought, if you're staying out of impure environments, you're not going to think impure thoughts. And even if the devil does, throw some impure, thoughts into your mind, you know how to fight them, because you have so many pure thoughts in your mind that it really just...
You're stronger and you're able to withstand those negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So one challenge that we have for you guys is the same challenge that's presented in this devotion. And in the devotion, share with your spouse the areas of vulnerability as related to purity, and decide what steps you need to take to make sure that you're pure in your marriage. And if you need outside counsel, go ahead and get that. So that's all the information that we have for you guys. Let me see if the scripture's in here.
Hebrews 13:4. Marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure. For God will judge the adulterer and all the sexually immoral.
Yes. And then Matthew 5:28 says, but I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. So
that's it right there. It starts with your mind.
Right. And here's one for the husbands. 1 Peter 3:7. Husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives. Treat them with respect as the weaker partner, as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. Okay. Here's a good one. Colossians 3:1. Since then you have been raised with Christ. Set your hearts on things above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. And so, the Word of God definitely can lead us and guide us in making the right decisions and making submitting our thoughts, to Christ. Okay, so the scripture I was referring to, I mentioned 1 Thessalonians. It's not 1 Thessalonians. It's 2 Corinthians 10:5. And it says, we demolish arguments in every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. And that's the NIV version. Take those thoughts and make them captive to Christ. Continue to be pure in your marriage and seek purity. If you're struggling with it, please go to counseling, because there's nothing wrong with counseling. It's having a conversation with a neutral party. There's nothing wrong with that. So we appreciate you watching this video. We pray that it was helpful for you.
Subscribe.
Yes. Subscribe to itsthegibsonlife.com. We send a monthly newsletter where this video actually was in. A monthly newsletter each month. We send tips, tricks, hacks, and information about budgeting, traveling, parenting, and marriage. We have a lot of fun on itsthegibsonlife.com. More content is coming. So we're super excited that you joined us today. You can also follow us on Instagram at young_and_happily married. You can find us on Facebook at It's the Gibson Life, and you can also find us on Twitter at It's the Gibson LI1. So thanks so much for tuning in. We hope that you follow and subscribe.
Remember, you can always share this video.
Yes. With another married person or someone who's looking to be married or a single person. Or
you can always share this video with someone else that is about to get engaged, that is about to get married, or anyone looking for any type of purity insight.
Yes. So thank you so much. We love you all, and we'll see you next time.